In today's video, I'm gonna be doing a ranking video, and I'm gonna be ranking the top 20 NBA players in the 2021 regular season. Now, you have to remember that this does not include playoffs. For example, some of you might not put Julius Randle because he had a bad playoffs, and some of you might not put Jimmy Butler because he had a bad playoffs. But this is based off of regular season. Those guys did good, and they're gonna be on this list. Now, obviously, there's not just 20 good players in the NBA, and we're going to need some honorable mentions. There are lots of honorable mentions, and we're just going to look through all of them. I'm not going to explain all of them, but, so the honorable mentions are Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Jamal Murray, Ja Morant, Domantas Sabonis, Jaylen Brown, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, De'Aaron Fox, Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, Karl Anthony Towns, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Bam Adebayo. So those are the honorable mentions that I was considering putting in this list, but there's just 20 really good players in the NBA that are just better than them all. And we're going to get started with number 20. We have Trey Young. Now, Trey Young, this year, he's been averaging 25 points and 9 assists. And his game has now been translating to wins. I know he's gotten better players like Bogdanovic, Capella, Collins has been getting better. He has better players now alongside him. But for the most part, you can see like he has amazing court vision now. And he's still an elite shooter, but he's better with his shots now. He doesn't just bomb it from half court. Trey Young, he's been shooting 43% from 3 and 34% from the 3-point line, but most of his shots are still from pretty far. But yeah, one thing that really impressed me was his court vision, passing to the open man, throwing lobs to Capella and Collins, and he is definitely deserving of this number 20 spot. And now we are in to number 19, where we have Jimmy Butler. Now, Jimmy Butler might be controversial because of how he's been doing in the playoffs, but like I said before, this has nothing to do with playoffs. No playoffs was considered. I didn't even consider the playoffs in this video. Jimmy Butler in the regular season had averaged 21, 7, and 7. That's not really close to triple-double, but it's pretty good. 21, 7, and 7. He definitely was deserving of an all-star. But yeah, you could see the way he plays. The Heat played so good in the regular season, and Butler was just kind of that main piece that made them good. They also had Bam Adebayo, don't get me wrong, but it was mostly Jimmy Butler. Alright, now so coming into number 18, we have Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis probably would have been higher, but the last little bit at the end of the season, he kind of was just injured, and then he just didn't really play as good as he should have. Like, he only played 36 games in the regular season. So you could have even argued I should have put someone like Zion ahead of him. But whatever. Because Anthony Davis, this is my thing. So, Anthony Davis, he's been the reason why the Lakers have been winning. I know also LeBron, but think about it like this. The Lakers without Davis didn't even make the playoffs. But then they got Davis last year, and they've been doing good. Games that Davis doesn't play, they lose. I know this has nothing to do with it, but when they played the Suns, he wasn't playing, and they kept losing by getting blown out. So Davis is super important to this team. LeBron's important too, but Davis, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, averaging 1 steal, almost 2 blocks, 26% from the 3. But again, this is kind of a down year for Davis. He probably would have been higher if he didn't get injured as much. But yeah, also standings do count in this. I'm going to put standings into perspective here. So coming in at number, 17, we have Jason Tatum. Now, Jason Tatum, his numbers have been amazing. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 64 games played, shooting 45% from the field, 38 from 3. But his team just has not been winning, and considering he's been playing most of the games, he should have been contributing them to to wins if he truly is a top 15 player. I don't know, that's just what I think. Don't get me wrong, he has a bright future. Just signed a nice extension. He's definitely an all-star. But that's why I have him at number 17. So, coming in at number 16 now we have Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker, you could argue that he should have been higher. But, I mean, he just kind of... Because he's been on the second best team in the league, the Suns. But it's just that Devin Booker hasn't really been the best player. He's definitely deserving to be top 20, definitely deserving to be an all-star. But obviously, we know who's been the big piece for Phoenix. It's been Chris Paul, and I'll get to him later. Devin Booker still has not let down on his scoring, 26 points. He's one of the clutchest players in the league. And on a good Suns team. And, that's why Devin Booker is number 16. So now coming in at number 15, we have Julius Randle. Julius Randle, you might be thinking off the top of your head, he's been playing really bad in the playoffs. That's why they got eliminated. And yes, I do agree. But this is regular season, because think about it. Last year, Julius Randle was getting so much Knicks fans were telling him to, let's trade this guy. This guy sucks. But now he's getting MVP chance almost every game. He is the reason why they have a lot of wins and why they are actually even made the playoffs, let alone the 4th seed. 24, 10, and 6. He's been getting double teamed a lot, and opposed to his last year self where he would just try to shoot, he's been passing more, which is why the Knicks have been so good, and that is why Julius Randle is a top 15 player in the league. Alright, now coming into number 14, we have Russell Westbrook. Now, Russell Westbrook has been getting lots of hate. And before the start of the season, I used to think that he stat padded a lot. But now I've been seeing a little more Wizards games, and it's not the case. Russell Westbrook, 22 points, 11 rebounds, almost 12 assists. He definitely is starting to put his scoring aside and trying to pass more, especially now he has a really good teammate in Bradley Beal. And yeah, the way Westbrook plays is really nice. Like, he does all these passes and stuff. And Westbrook's a huge reason why the Wizards have made the playoffs. And yeah, speaking of the Wizards, number 13 we have Bradley Beal. Now, Bradley Beal, he was kind of a meme at the beginning because he would get 30, 40, even 50 points every game, and they would still lose. But that was because Westbrook was injured, and now Westbrook was back, and they're in the playoffs. Bradley Beal, 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Second in scoring, 31 points, just behind Steph Curry. And yeah, it makes me happy to see that his scoring has been actually paying off this year, because last year, the year before, without John Wall, he's been averaging 27 points, 28 points, and they just haven't been making the playoffs. Now this year, he stepped it up, 30 points. Great season for Bradley Beal, shout out to him. And now we're moving on to number 12, where we have Donovan Mitchell. Now Donovan Mitchell, stat-wise, he might not be, skilled-wise, he might not be better than Bradley Beal, but he's averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. But then the main reason is because he has been the best player on the best team, the Utah Jazz. They have Conley, they have Gobert, they have Clarkson and Bogdanovich, but Donovan Mitchell's kind of been the main piece to this team. And I think that even next year, he might even be a top 8 player in the league. Who knows? And that's pretty much it for Mitchell. So, coming in at number 11, we have Chris Paul. You heard me say I was going to talk about him later with Devin Booker. And yes, 10 less points than Booker, only 16. But he's been averaging 9 assists, played 70 games, and also is one of the clutchest players in the league. Like, his mid-range game is insane. Like, every time he shoots a mid-range, you know it's going in. He's been that piece that's helped the Suns not even make the playoffs, but be the second best team in the league. I think that if you got rid of Booker, the Suns might have still been decent. But if you got rid of Chris Paul, they would have just same as every year. Not very good. That's a big thing. Impact. Yeah, so now Chris Paul almost made the top 10, but there's just 10 players I would put ahead of him. And coming into number 10, we have Damien Lillard. Now, I wanted to put Damien Lillard higher, but I felt like this was the right spot for him because his game hasn't really translated to wins. They did get 42 wins, but like all the guys I put ahead of them, majority of them have good teams. Damian Lillard, though, third in scoring, 29 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Yeah, Damian Lillard, considering he doesn't have an all-star teammate, I know McCollum's playing like an all-star, but considering statistics, like stat-wise, accolade-wise, he doesn't have an all-star. Very good year for Lillard. Surprisingly, like, not really surprisingly, but the Portland was the 6th seed. And yeah, Lillard, one of the clutchest players in the league, probably the clutchest player in the league this year. I like the way Lillard plays. Shoots a lot of threes. Some of them go in. 39% of them do. And I don't really know what else to say. Coming in at number 9 now. Coming in at number 9, we have Luca Doncic. Now, Luca Doncic, you might be thinking that Lillard is better than him. And that's arguable. But Lillard averaging 29 points, Doncic is averaging 28. Lillard was averaging, 4 rebounds? Doncic is averaging 8. Lillard was averaging 7 assists, Doncic is averaging 9. And Luca Doncic is carrying his team, because I think McCollum's better than Porzingis, so Lillard therefore has more help. And I think Luca Doncic carried his team to the 5 seed. So just there's no way to prove that Lillard is better than Doncic. I think that Doncic is still better. It's not close, but it just still is. I know Doncic is still very young. But yeah, Doncic, he's just been a great passer this year. I thought he'd be a better scorer, but still 28 points a game is very good. And yeah, shout out to Doncic. Coming in at number 8 now, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, when I first was writing this list, there were so many players better than Giannis, and I was like, wait, no way Giannis can actually be number 8. But it is true. Giannis is the 8th best player in the league, which is kind of low considering he was the back-to-back MVP this year. Or last 2 years. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. His passing is something that impressed me a lot this year. He's been passing a lot more than usual. And he has carried Milwaukee to, 3 seed? And he has carried them to the second round, beating the Heat. Not that playoffs matter, like I've been saying. And it's not even like, Giannis can't shoot, so I'm putting him this low. Though that is true, just the players that I put ahead of him, are just, I think, a lot better, in my opinion. And, yeah. Coming in at number 7 now, we have Kevin Durant. We have actually Kawhi Leonard. Not Kevin Durant. We have Kawhi Leonard coming in at number 7. Now, Kawhi Leonard has been super underappreciated this year. I know he only played 41 games. Oh, wait, no, wrong guy. 52 games he played this year. 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Helped the Clippers to the 4th seed. 2 steals a game. He has been the best two-way player this year by far. And still, he's been super underappreciated just because of what happened with the Clippers last year. He's still a great player, and he definitely deserves to be top 10 player every year. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, now coming in number 6, we have Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant has been the second best player of this big 2, partly because he only played 35 games, but 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 53% from the field, 45% from 3. And yeah, Kevin Durant, I just think that he might just be a tad bit better than Kawhi Leonard, partly because he helped his team to a higher seed, even though they do have a super team. I don't know, it could be controversial, Durant or Kawhi. I can definitely see if some of you think that Kawhi's a lot better. I can see that. But I just like the way Durant plays. Like, he's more of a deadly shooter. Like, you'd rather leave Kawhi open than him. So it makes teams kind of guard Durant a little bit more. But then as Kawhi, you can think, okay, we don't have to double team and put as much pressure. Whereas Durant, you do. And I think Durant is a top 6 player in the NBA. And now, coming in at number 5, we have LeBron James. Again, LeBron is a guy that could be higher, but he only played 45 games. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Kind of like Luca Doncic, but a little less scoring and a little bit more of everything else. So, yeah, LeBron has been really showing his impact with the Lakers because when he was injured, there was a stretch where he was injured a lot. And the Lakers were pretty bad in that stretch. So that just shows how much of an impact LeBron has, as well as Davis. And yeah, LeBron is still extremely clutch. And I think that's pretty much all to say for LeBron. Yep, so we're in our top 4 now. Coming in at number 4, we have Joelle Embiid. Joelle Embiid, he was probably, for the first half of the season, I would say was the front runner for the MVP. 28 points, 11 rebounds, and only 1.4 blocks. This is another guy, because like he leads his team to high seeds. Like he led him to the 1 seed. But this is another one, a guy where just the players ahead of him are just better, plainly. He does have a big impact on Philadelphia. And he's a number 4. Number 4 is not bad at all. And yeah, coming in at number 3, we are now moving back to the Brooklyn Nets. We have James Harden. Now, James Harden, you could be thinking, okay, he's on a super team. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Of course he's going to get a lot of assists. But the Nets, before they got James Harden, were decent. They got James Harden, started playing amazing. James Harden got injured with his hamstring, and they started playing pretty poor again. And if that was Kyrie Irving, they still would have been fine. If that was Kevin Durant, they still would have probably been fine. It's James Harden that's been the difference maker. He's kind of just been the point guard that's been passing the rock, passing it to guys for wide open threes, drawing double teams, and then maybe throwing a lob or passing it. And yeah, James Harden, he takes a lot of shots, and considering he shoots 47%, and he takes a lot of shots. So, yeah, James Harden, number 3. Shout out to him. And coming in at number 2, we have Stephen Curry. Now, Stephen Curry was going to be number 1 if his team was winning. It sucks. They were, 38 and 33 or something like that? 39 and 33, I think. 32 points, leads the league. Only 6 assists. He is on a pretty bad team. He shoots a lot of threes, makes 42% of them. Great year for Steph Curry. He would have been number 1 if his team could win a little more, if he could maybe help his team win a little more, with their second best player being like Wiggins or Draymond Green. But yeah, Stephen Curry is number 2. That's just my dog. And coming in at number 1, this player is the MVP of the season. The number 1 player is Nicola Yokic. Nicola Yokic has been one of the few players to average a near triple-double. He played every single game, and that is why the Nuggets are so good. He's been showing his impact when they lost Jamal Murray the last 20-something games of the season, and they have still been winning. It's not like they dropped down. They've still been at where they were. 26 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists for the MVP. You can just see, like, the passes he makes are, like, the skip passes, full court passes, whatever they are, him posting up, him shooting threes, he can't be stopped, Jokic. He just can't. And that is why Nikola Jokic is the best player.